Welcome to the CLS Monthly Market Review. I'm Rusty Vanneman, Chief Investment Officer at CLS Investments. And with me today is Case Eichenberger,
Hello.
Portfolio Manager at CLS.
Hi.
Case, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it was an interesting week. Week for
It
sure.
was definitely an exciting week. Well, tell us a little bit about the week. What happened last week?
Well, we started off the week pretty well. And so the month ended the middle of the week, and everybody kept saying how great of a month it was. It was one of the best months in the stock market. I think emerging markets were up 8.5%, U.S. stocks were up 5.5%, and then we got some, good data around the jobs report. Wage inflation came back in, and that spooked the markets. The narrative is, of course, you never really know what spooked it, but interest rates. So, bad couple last days of the market. I think the Dow was down 666 points on Friday.
Hey, we don't talk about the Dow.
So that's one market measure, of course. But so it was interesting. Really good month, bad week.
You know what? I did like how you talked about the positives because we're recording this Monday morning.
Right.
And the markets are down a little bit. Last Friday was a pretty big down day. Last week was the first down week in 4 weeks. And all the media over the weekend was very negative.
Of course.
And of course, we had a great month, and we're off to a great start this year. A couple stats about last week. So the biggest drop in the market in 2 years.
Yeah, since what, 16?
Yeah.
Brexit?
Yeah. The highest 10-year Treasury yield in 4 years,
Like
3 years.
285 now, somewhere around there.
4 years. And then the dollar also, multi-year lows too.
Yeah.
So pretty exciting week.
Well, I think that's what people are a little bit worried about, and I wrote about it last week, was the dollar falling. That's usually good for oil prices going higher, inflation, interest rates. I think that's what
I think you
spooked
just hit a
lot
key
of people.
button, So two things about the losses last week. I mean, the common narrative is that interest rates are rising, inflation expectations are rising, and a lot of that's due to the tax reform being pro-cyclical, the economy is already strong. I think there's truth to all that, but you know what? As you said, that stuff's already been happening for weeks. So why did it happen last week? It's just, one thing that happened is I just wrote the monthly, and actually I just wrote the weekly review with an emphasis on the month. But it's interesting. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, investor sentiment was really, really bullish, and that's almost kind of like a short-term top. And it was pretty interesting how that happened.
Yeah, we've talked about sentiment a lot, and I was in Seattle last week visiting some clients, and I think we've talked about this a lot, where the clients, just don't quite seem as bullish as what we get in the sentiment readings. So our clients we talk to are very happy about last year's gains. They're nervous about probably what's going on this year already.
There's still a wall of worry out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The market's climbing those wall of worries.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about something else really, really positive, and because we both went there, but we were able to go to the Inside ETFs conference down in
Florida. It was amazing. Good weather. Just the whole experience. That was my first time being there, so I was very, involved in what was going on, and just to visit a lot of these different ETF providers, and just the absolute boom of growth in the ETF industry has been big.
Well, absolutely. So stats on that, which I think are just incredible.
Right.
Last year, more money flowed into ETFs than any year, but more than any year than went into mutual funds.
Yeah, which is
Isn't
amazing,
that amazing?
right? Yeah.
But here's even more amazing. January
This
was
year.
the biggest month. Yeah, thank you. Biggest month ever for ETFs, and that was with a week to go.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Well, so I follow a lot of people on Twitter, and the ETF industry is big, and you see like big down days like what we had.
Yeah.
And that's when a lot of people are putting money into ETFs, which is just very interesting. Like a lot of people say they're not really tested. We haven't had maybe a big sell-off in a while, but they're still pretty well tested. I think we could both agree with.
Hey, just one more stat on those ETFs.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, which I think is really neat. So if you annualize the flows in January of this year in ETFs, it'll be 70% more than last year.
That's amazing. Already building on a record.
I've always been talking it's a tidal wave. I need to come up with a bigger word than a tidal wave.
Right.
It's just an
monsoon.
incredible crush.
I don't know. Yeah.
One other thing that we had last week, of course, was the investment committee meeting.
Right.
And it was another good meeting. We had a couple good guests. We had Brent Ledbetter in from Research Affiliates and Sal Gaberte from Tucrium. And we interviewed them for podcasts, so they might be available on the weighing machine here soon. But really good stuff for the investment themes.
Yeah. Whenever you can bring in outside experts like Research Affiliates out of Newport Beach, California, in a more focused area like commodities, which obviously we're starting to talk a lot more about, I think it's adds a lot of value to us.
So it taps into our themes about smart beta and creative diversification. So they're really good stuff. So, well, Case, thanks for coming along. And next time you're on here, hopefully we'll have an up week beforehand.
Right.
All right. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks. And thank you for your time and trust in CLS Investments.